What's up, everybody? It's Ballard here, Chris Ballard, sports journalist at Ballard Sports Media. We got Mayhem on, and we are live for the Touchdown Show, only here on Ballard Sports Media. How you doing, Mayhem?
You're doing good.
Good. Where do you want to start tonight, man? We got a couple different topics to choose from. There's obviously been news with, you know, Nick Saban being a commissioner for college football, or at least helping in athletics with Donald Trump or President Trump. Let me use some respect on that man's name. Uh, there's first time playoff teams. We could go anywhere you want around the map tonight.
Let's talk about Trump.
Okay. Why are you staring into the camera all weird like that? You think it didn't take me that long to notice? All right. So, got some breaking news. And this was, it's not so much breaking, it broke yesterday, but we're going to react to this article here from CBS Sports. Nick Saban expected to serve as a co-chair for Trump administration's Commission on College Football. Former Alabama coach Nick Saban is expected to co-chair President Donald Trump's commission into college athletics, a source confirmed with CBS Sports. Richard Johnson. The news comes after Trump met with Saban to discuss potential NIL reform. Additionally, Texas businessman Cody Campbell, the founder of Texas Tech's Matador Club NIL Collective and chairman of the Texas Tech Board of Regents, will serve as a co-chair alongside Saban. The commission would examine prominent issues facing college sports like the transfer portal, unregulated booster compensation that goes directly to athletes, the employment of college athletes in Title IX, among other hot button topics, according to Yahoo Sports. Trump was also recently in Tuscaloosa to deliver the University of Alabama's commencement speech. The president is also considering an executive order aimed at greater scrutiny toward NIL deals, though any executive order would likely still need congressional action, NCAA President Charlie Baker told Dennis Dodd back in April. Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who previously had stints as the coach at Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati, also said he spoke with the Trump administration about NIL. He said on social media, college football is the heart and soul of America, but it's in danger if we don't level the playing field. Saban, a seven-time national champion who retired from coaching in January 2024, has remained a prominent figure in college football. Upon his decision to step away from Alabama, he was hired as an analyst on ESPN's College Game Day. He also maintains an office inside Alabama's Bryant-Denny Stadium and works in an advisory role in Crimson Tide Athletics. And that ends this article. What's your immediate reaction to this, Mayhem?
I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, me too. I really do.
All right, continue.
Sorry, my grandfather's playing music out there. My favorite song just came on, but anyways, as far as this goes, I know they're trying to regulate NIL and everything, but this obviously bringing Trump into it, who I have a lot of love and respect for, I really do, but this whole politics mixing into sports BS has got to stop. Honestly, it really does, and I don't like it. I don't like that Saban's gotten into politics after retiring from Alabama. And I also don't like that Trump is getting involved to like other than just going to games. Like I know he's a football fan. I know he's a fanatic and everything. He's loved teams like Alabama and whoever out there, but I I just hate that it all has to come together like this.
Yeah. I mean, who does Nick Saban think he is? He thinks him and a Texas billionaire can fix college football. You're gonna need more than that, buddy. You're gonna need more than that, buddy. Listen, I don't know
I
who
agree.
I don't know who Nick Saban thought he was or who he proclaims himself to be as so-called the greatest of all time in college football as a head coach. But him and some Texas billionaire is not going to fix it. And yeah, I mean, he's got Donald Trump involved. I'm gonna say what needs to be said, Ballard. I'm gonna say exactly what needs to be said. This is
Hmm.
all a publicity stunt for Donald Trump. Do you actually, Ballard, think that Donald Trump gives a hoot about college football? That's the question I pose today.
Yeah. I don't. Before I get into what I think, I'm sure our buddy VicTube has some words.
It is it creepy? Yes. Does it affect me? No. Is there a relationship harming anyone? No.
I mean, I don't know about that last part, but does it affect me? No. um, but it's toxic. It really is toxic for college football that this is what it's come to. I mean, this is going to blow up, and it's going to happen. You know, and you're going to see politics get so involved in collegiate athletics and college football, it's not going to be funny. And you'll see it happen there more than you ever thought it would in the NFL. What do you think about that?
I just think that honestly, this is just terrible for college football.
Right.
I think that Nick Saban thinks really highly of himself to believe that he can listen. You got idiots that are coming on YouTube channels saying that Nick Saban should be the college football commissioner, and honestly, Ballard, this has gotten into his head. This this coach has been, we all coaches always talk about to their team, hey, do not read your own headlines because it's going to
Hmm.
get to your head. You're going to go out there thinking that you're going to win the game, and then you're going to lose. And that's how upsets happen, Ballard, because they read their own headlines. And that's exactly what has happened here, Ballard. Nick Saban has read his own headlines, greatest of all time head coach. These the college football commissioner should be Nick Saban. And he's trying to do something, and it's going to fail. It's not going to work, Ballard. It's not.
And it is gonna. I do agree, it's gonna fail because even if it worked out somehow, the fans that you'll lose in college football, and ultimately that will backfire on the NCAA and collegiate athletics. There's no way they win this war. There's just not. No matter what.
Ballard, what if I told you I was going to try to fix college football by myself because I thought I was I was the solution. I thought I had the solution to do it. You call me crazy. A lot of people would call me delusional. But since it is Nick Saban, since, he is labeled as the greatest of all time head college football coach, and since he has labels, and since he is well known, some people would even call him famous, since he is well respected within the college football community and the sport itself, he thinks he could just fix college football. Well, I got news for you, Saban. You're not going to be able to, bro. Honestly, bro, had this been Kirby Smart, I think this would have went a lot better.
Are you saying that because you're a Georgia fan or just being straight real? I'm not trying to call you like Georgia bias or nothing. I'm just curious because I don't know I don't know of any coach that, retired or not, could be doing this to try to fix the situation at hand. I don't see any coach out there that could handle it.
I just think maybe if Kirby would have thought about this, that he wouldn't have went by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He would have had more people with him, a team of people with him, instead of Nick Saban
Trying to do it on his own. I see
and
what you're saying.
we need a team, Ballard. We need a team. We need the SEC representing college football.
Yeah.
The SEC has been the best conference in college football since I've been alive.
Me too.
You have a whole entire conference of coaches. You have retired coaches that have done phenomenal things in the SEC. We need to stand tall. We need more than just one coach. We need more than just one billionaire. And we definitely need more than just a Donald Trump in this situation. Because he's just the president. He don't care. We need people that actually care about college football. And I'm not saying that Saban don't care about college football, but he sure is not making it look like he does. By doing a publicity stunt with Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump was a celebrity, Ballard. He's our president now. This is a publicity stunt to get eyes on college football product. Are they really wanting to change anything? I'm not convinced. We need a team. We all need to fight for what's right. We need more than one coach. We need more than one billionaire. We need more than just a president. We need the Congress, the House of Representatives. We need
But you know good and damn well they won't do anything. That's my
point, Ballard.
Yeah.
They're not going. Nick Saban thinks he's got it. Nick Saban thinks that he can do everything. But he can't do it by himself.
I have always, as a Bama fan, I have always supported Nick Saban. I've always looked up to Saban. Everything he teaches his team, the world of college football, the legacy he's had. But I agree with you, man. This is some BS. And honestly, it's getting out of control. It's getting more out of control than it was before he tried to meet with Trump and retired. Because he retired so he could get away from the chaos. Now he wants to help fix it. But bringing President Trump into this whole thing is just going to make it toxic, man.
You bring a really good point, and I didn't
What's
even think
that?
about that point. I didn't even think
Which
about
one?
that until you said it. Literally, Nick Saban got out of college football because of
Because of all
politicking.
this. Yeah.
Because of all this, he needs to either be in or be out.
Yeah.
You made a great point. I didn't even think of that. You made a
You're welcome.
fantastic point.
You're welcome.
But that is my reaction to this, to this whole shebang. You know, I'm not saying that Nick Saban sucks. I'm not talking about bad about President Trump. I'm just saying that this is a publicity stunt, and this is not how you go about things.
Yeah.
Next topic.
I will say there is one quote that Tommy Tuberville, who is a senator here in Alabama, had put out on Twitter or somewhere on social media. It says social media, but he did say this, and this is from a true American right here. College football is the heart and soul of America, but it's in danger if we don't level the playing field. That is true, but let me just be real. I think Trump and Saban teaming up like this, that they're trying, I think they're trying too hard. And I'll just leave it at that. Next topic.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
This reminds me of our next topic.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
This is like Bill Belichick is Nick Saban and Donald Trump is the girlfriend. This is just a publicity stunt. Now, last time, I'll go ahead and talk about this first. Last time we talked, we heard Bill Belichick's. Last time we talked about this on the Touchdowns live stream, North Carolina, and I really didn't get to finish the whole thing because of technical difficulties and all that stuff. So I'm glad we're actually bringing this back up because, Ballard at the end of that kept on saying hello, hello. Anyways, but Bill Belichick went on some Good Morning America, whatever it is, and I mean, pretty much Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend. By the way, his girlfriend's younger than I am, 24 years old, which is also crazy, but whatever, right? Jordan Hudson was controlling Bill Belichick all throughout the interview. Everything that Jordan Hudson wanted Bill Belichick to say, that's what Bill Belichick said. All right.
Yeah.
She wears the pants in this relationship,
which is not how it should be, but yes.
And long story short, it was very clear and evident that Jordan Hudson wore the pants in the relationship from that Good Morning America interview. Talking about, basically Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson talked to Good Morning America and was like, hey, don't talk about anything that isn't inside of the book that we wrote. We're going to promote this book that Bill Belichick wrote. We're going to promote it, and don't talk about anything other than what's in the book, right?
Right.
And well, guess what? Good Morning America asked Bill Belichick about his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. Jordan Hudson had a huge problem with that. And, so did Bill Belichick because he listens to his master,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Mrs. Jordan Hudson here. And pretty much how things went was, Bill Belichick was crying and said, I told you not to talk about anything outside of what was in that book. Hey, dummy. Bill Belichick, your girlfriend is inside of the book. So Good Morning America did exactly what you asked of them. They asked about your relationship because you put the relationship in the book, dummy. And then this brings us to this news, because apparently there was some quote unquote fake thing that Jordan Hudson was banned from North Carolina facilities, and then now the University of North Carolina denies the report that Jordan Hudson is banned from facilities. Like, this is just a publicity stunt, Ballard. This is
Yeah.
just a clown show. This just goes ahead and proves my point that the off season is exactly what it is. And
A train wreck?
this is not a good look. This is not a good look for Bill Belichick. A lot of people already think that Bill Belichick can't coach college. He can't recruit. He's not going to be any good. He's going to be gone after
He's
1
gonna
year.
you know what I just realized? Hot take here, because we do that here. He's going to run North Carolina into the ground this football season, and I would not be surprised if they're as bad as FSU was this last year because of all this crap. I mean, is that possible?
That is very possible. North Carolina wasn't even, that great in the first place.
Right.
So
But he
it's
could
very
literally
possible.
make it worse because he's got his little sidekick over there on the sidelines. She'd probably be flirting with the players like Megan Mullen did at Florida. I mean, I'm just saying there are theories that I have about this situation.
Well, let's hear them. I want to hear them.
Well, I just gave it to you. She could be like the Megan Mullen of UNC. She can be a distraction for the players, for Belichick, for the university, because they'll be focused on him. Well, he's going to be focused on her, right?
Listen, this is how this is going to go. Whenever North Carolina wins,
Mm-hmm.
if they do have a winning season, if they do win 8, 9, 10 games and slide into the playoffs somehow, this is how all this stuff will be forgotten. And then whenever the next offseason comes, it's going to start right back up because, listen, I'm going to just be honest with you. North Carolina football is irrelevant to college football. It is irrelevant to college football.
Yeah.
Okay? And I mean that. Whenever I got a question, Ballard. If I said college football, what are the first 25 college football teams that you name? It's not going to be North Carolina. You're not going to say North Carolina. You're not.
No. I'm going to say teams like Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama. I could keep going. USC, maybe. I would probably say USC or Auburn before I get to North Carolina.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would even say Florida State, just because of how delusional they were a couple years ago. They made themselves relevant.
They've at least made and won a championship in the last 2 decades, right? That's fair. North Carolina hasn't sniffed that in a century.
Yes.
or
And
ever.
guess what? Guess what, Ballard?
What?
North Carolina is trying to make themselves relevant by pushing this mess out here. Literally, they hired. Let's go back before Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Who did they hire, Ballard?
Mac Brown?
Mac Brown, a
Yeah.
washed up old geezer.
Oh, geezer. Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I'm being honest. I'm being truthful here. He
Yeah.
is a washed up old man that won a championship in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
And then they went and got him. They tried that publicity stunt with Mac Brown. It didn't work because Mac Brown don't have a 24-year-old girlfriend. He don't have any baggage with him. So it didn't work. They had some good years, good nine-win seasons or whatnot. But then they didn't meet the standard that obviously North Carolina wanted. So they forced Mac Brown into retirement. Pretty much fired him. Said, "Hey, retire or we're going to fire you." That's what happened. And then they do the same exact thing. North Carolina fans, North Carolina says, "Well, Mac Brown's getting old. We need a younger coach." And who do you get? Well, you got what you wanted. You did get a younger coach. You hired Jordan Hudson as your head coach.
I think I read this quote already, but I'm going to read it again anyway. There is a deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be, not just for not just North Carolina, but Bill's legacy, reputation, everything he has built and worked for over the decades. Dude, that is so true. Because think about it, man. If this season blows up because of this girlfriend, all of a sudden, like every Super Bowl win with Tom Brady, every win that he had with Saban by his side at the Browns, everything he did goes out the window. I mean, does it not? Like, it doesn't even matter anymore, does it?
And number one, if you're a college football fan, and like a super fan, like a really big fan, 9 times out of 10, you're not watching the NFL like that. Okay, let's just be honest. There's a big okay, let me rephrase that. There used to be a huge, huge difference between NFL and college, and there still is a big difference. Don't get me wrong. There's still a big difference between NFL and college football. I follow the NFL. I follow my team specifically. I don't really follow all the teams like I do college football because I am a super fan of college football and I follow every single team. Every single Saturday, I'm watching every single game that I can possibly watch. Even whenever I have the split screen, I'm watching 4 games at once, and then I pull out the iPad and I'm watching 4 more games. I'm watching 8 games at once, which is probably bad for my health, but I still do it. But out of all them games, North Carolina's probably not one of them because they're irrelevant.
The only time I watch North Carolina is maybe if they're playing like Miami or Clemson. Otherwise, what's the point? And the only reason I watch those is because I just want to see how good Clemson and Miami are going to be. And obviously, they're good enough to where they're going to blow the brakes off North Carolina.
Yeah. And also,
that's it.
I mean, I'm just being honest. North Carolina's irrelevant in college football. And I'm gonna tell you something else, Ballard. This reminds me a whole lot of Colorado. Colorado is the most irrelevant program in all of college football. Even North Carolina's more relevant than them.
Right.
And they had to go hire Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Ain't hard to find. Guess what? That is so ironic, Ballard. Deion Sanders says, I am not hard to find. But the relevancy that Colorado had was super hard to find. That is so ironic. And guess what?
Hold on. I'm
You,
I'm trying to Google something. North
well,
Carolina
I'll,
football, they're
I'll just,
relevant.
yeah.
Facts.
You can't-
Facts. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Google machine said it was true.
Yeah. Google machine said it was true. I said it was true. It's got to be true.
Yeah.
And you got these North Carolina fans, and like North Carolina, I'm gonna say this: North Carolina is relevant in college basketball.
That's pretty
North
much it,
Carolina,
too.
North
In
Carolina,
men's, not even in women's, in men's, dude.
North Carolina is the ACC equivalent to Kentucky in the SEC,
Jeez.
and
Golly.
the ACC is a more terrible conference than the SEC, way more terrible. So like Kentucky is trying to stay relevant with their head coach, you know, and that's a different topic for a different day. With him trying to go to Texas A&M, Texas A&M said never mind, and then he went back and said, "Oh, forgive me, guys." And now, now Kentucky's in a lot of turmoil. But this is the ACC side of things that we're talking about in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
You know what I noticed that I just did, Ballard? I literally compared this specific thing with other programs, and what I have come to realize is the programs that I compared this situation to are other other irrelevant programs that are trying to stay or that are trying to be relevant. Okay? That's
Yeah.
literally what I just did. So that just goes to show and prove my point even more that this is just a publicity stunt to put eyeballs on North Carolina football this coming season. Because now, Ballard, you are going to watch North Carolina. See, I almost said basketball, football. You are
That's
going to
how
now
irrelevant
watch
their
it.
football program is.
You are going to now watch North Carolina football because you want to see either two things. You want to see Bill Belichick do good, or you want to see Bill Belichick just completely fail. You're not going to be in between. You're going to be in one or the other. You're going to want to see him do good or want to see him fail. There's no in betweens. There's no, well, I want them to go 6-6. No, you want to see him fail or you want to see him do good. That's it. There's
Yeah.
nobody that is going to ride the fence and say, well, I hope he does good. Well, and if he doesn't, it's okay. No. North Carolina fans are trying to take up for this drama here and say, well, this is just off-season drama. Once we start winning games, and yes, that is true. If North Carolina does win 10 games, we won't even hear about this until the next off-season. But Ballard, once they start losing games, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna be honest with you. This might sound crazy to say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if you start hearing rumors of Bill Belichick and Jordan not getting along in their marriage, or not marriage because they're girlfriend boyfriend. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you start hearing rumors of breaking news. Jordan Solomon, whatever her name, Jordan, whatever her name is. Jordan has now accused Bill Belichick of this and that and the third, or vice versa. Bill Belichick is now broken up with Jordan. I'm not saying that's going to happen. And I'm not saying it has already happened. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen, if they start losing games. Oh, breaking news. Bill Belichick and Jordan have now split up. Or breaking news.
Breaking news, I'm not going to care.
Yes, Ballard, we know that because we don't care about this, and we don't care, like us top tier college football fans really don't care about NFL and Bill Belichick, really, to be honest with you. And we really don't care about North Carolina football. So, yeah, we're not going to care. But North Carolina wants you to care because they want to be relevant. They want to be talked about. That's all it is. So that some 5-star, delusional 5-star will go over there and try to, play hero ball or something like that. That's, and so that North Carolina will be recognized as a college football brand. That's all. So, just to recap, if you don't know what I said in the last 10 minutes, which I think is pretty clear, but just to recap what I said, this is a publicity stunt just to get you to watch North Carolina football next year. All this Jordan girlfriend, boyfriend, Bill Belichick going on Good Morning America, this whole entire fake report that come out that North Carolina has banned Jordan from all right, well, the facilities or whatever, and then now North Carolina comes back and says, actually, we never said that. All this is a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
Next topic.
it is. Yeah. Moving right along. Let's come to this last, but talk to me about Michigan. What's going on there, bud? We got some news, and we I guess it's all on Sharon Moore. Boy, Jim Harbaugh really got out of there quick, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they get caught cheating. He wins the championship, throws up the deuces, says, "I'm going to LA."
Yeah. So, go ahead and read us the article that you got pulled up, and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Michigan's Sharon Moore became the head coach a couple years ago after Jim Harbaugh left for the Chargers in the NFL. We know all that. He is now expected to get a 2-game ban for self-imposed sanctions by the university for the whole Connor Stalions advanced scouting scandal. Industry sources had told ESPN. The suspensions will be for Michigan's week 3 and week 4 games against Central Michigan. Go figure that. And Nebraska. Moore will also be barred from any team related duties during those weeks and will receive additional recruiting related penalties. The NCAA can still punish Moore in addition to the self imposed school penalties. A final resolution is expected before the start of the season. Michigan opens the season by hosting New Mexico before hitting the road in a high profile non con game at Oklahoma, which is Sharon Moore's alma mater. Then it goes on to say, and we kind of know this part, but he was the offensive coordinator in 2023 when Connor Stalions was on staff. They won the championship that year. We know all about that. But what had happened to get Sharon Moore to this point? His suspension ties back to the allegations that he deleted a thread of 52 text messages with Connor Stalions. The alleged deletions came in October 2023. On the same day, media reports revealed Stalions was leading an effort to capture the play calling signals of future opponents. According to a draft of the notice of allegations obtained by ESPN last year, the texts were recovered via device imaging, and Moore subsequently produced them to enforcement staff. Moore is accused of committing a level 2 violation, according to the draft. He was suspended for Michigan's 2023 season opening game against East Carolina as part of self-imposed penalties by the university in a different NCAA case. And the article goes on. I don't want to read all of it, but he's trying to cover up some stuff here, Mayhem.
What's your thoughts?
Well, 52 text messages. He deletes a big thread between him and Connor Stallions, if I'm reading that correctly. Why? Why would you delete that? Like, what are you covering up? What do you have to hide? You're just at the time, you're just the coordinator. You're just on staff, you know? And now he's the head coach. And of course, they found out that he's trying to hide it up. And it's, I'm not surprised by this in the sense of I'm not surprised that more news has come out about this investigation at Michigan. I'm not surprised. I guess the only thing that surprises me is who they're going after now. I figured they'd go after Harbaugh again. Maybe something happened with him. I figured they'd go back to Connor Stallions himself. But no, they're going after the current head coach, the new man in charge, Sharon Moore. It's a tangled web right now, Mayhem.
You mean to tell you something?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Ballard. This whole entire thing shouldn't even be happening right now.
Right.
So Ron Moore shouldn't even be the head coach at Michigan. What has Sharon Moore done that would make you want to hire him?
Not a thing.
The only thing I can go to is whenever Jim Harbaugh got suspended for them couple of games and he was able to beat rival Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think he was able to beat Penn State and Ohio State in that three game stretch, the last 3 games of the season in 2023. But Ballard, if this cheating scandal is true, then they cheated. They already had all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
They already had all the answers to the playbooks. They already had all the answers. They already had all the signs. Of course, it was easy for Sharon Moore to win that game. Okay, he then gets hired as the head coach, but he still didn't sign a contract. He was the head coach of Michigan without even a formal contract. They were still negotiating his head coaching contract for like months after he got hired.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really, quote unquote, yeah, he was the head coach because they said it, word of mouth. They said, you're hired. But on paper, he wasn't even the head coach. He was just, I guess, acting as head coach until, it was official whenever he signed the contract, whenever they can get the contracts done. I remember that. I remember them, a report coming out that he didn't even have an official contract yet. And he's been there for months. Then what happens is he goes, he wins, was he 6-6 or 7-5? He won 6 or 7 games, including the bowl game, right?
Right. He won 7 games in total. So he went 6-6 plus the win in the bowl game over Bama. He got 7 wins total.
So, I'm gonna just say this. So he went 6-6. That's
Yeah.
terrible. That's terrible.
For Michigan.
For me, yeah, it's just terrible for anybody. I mean, do you want to see the Charlotte 49ers go 6-6? I mean, the Charlotte 49er fans will be like mad that they went 6-6. That 6-6 is terrible for any college football team. It's terrible.
Unless you've never made a bowl before and you're just looking for eligibility. But
Yeah,
I see your point.
but even then, it still sucks.
Right.
But my point is that he had a terrible season. He beats Alabama, which that team. I'm not making excuses for Alabama. I'm not, but Alabama fans and out the University of Alabama and the team probably thought that they should have made the college football playoffs because they're Alabama and they went 9-3, which makes absolutely no sense. But I did hear that being thrown out there that Alabama would have beat SMU on a neutral site field, so that means you got to give them the 12th seed, whatever, in the playoffs. I did hear that thrown around. I also heard Ole Miss fans and South Carolina fans talking that mess too. But anyways, Alabama was kind of like on that. It's kind of like whenever a child doesn't get what they want, so they throw a temper tantrum, and then they're like, they go out in this bowl game, Alabama does, and you can just they were in give up mode.
Right.
You can see in that game that they didn't want to be there. They felt like they got robbed, which they didn't, by the way. I'll go ahead and say that for Ballard Sports Media too, that they didn't get robbed. But they were in total give up mode. And when Michigan got to a bowl game, they literally they limped into a bowl game, literally. They pretty much got lucky to even be in the bowl game. They went 6-6. Had they lost one other game, they wouldn't have even been there. So whenever I say they got lucky, is they probably did win a game that they probably shouldn't have. And then they slipped their way into a bowl game. So they took advantage of that bowl game and they said, "Hey, let's go out and win this game. Alabama don't want to be here anyways." So, they got a win over an Alabama team that really wasn't excited to be there. Alabama took that vacation. Believe it was in Florida. They took a mini vacation, and while Alabama was taking a mini vacation, Michigan was taking a business trip to win that game, and that's exactly the game that I watched and I saw play out in real time. So had that been like a national championship game or something like that, the same two teams, Alabama would have won. And I say that because the more talented team was Alabama from top to bottom. And Alabama fans want to clown on Kalen DeBoer or whatnot. Kalen DeBoer is miles better than a Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
So, yes, I know Sharon Moore and company beat a Kalen DeBoer team, but honestly, I don't really judge that off of that one game. And if you do, then you're a non-ball knower, I guess, as the kids say nowadays, non-ball knower. But anyways, yeah, man. Sharon Moore should have never gotten hired in the first place. I think they should have did away with the Harbaugh staff completely. They should have done a national search. They should have actually, pretended to care about this situation. Michigan had to have known that there was more to uncover about this. Now, what they're doing is they're suspending Sharon Moore because they hired him out of, I guess, what, pity, I guess you could say, because he cried on national television after he beat Ohio State as an interim head coach or whatever. He cried. And so I don't know. I really don't know why they hired him. I don't. Um, I guess they hired him because they felt bad for him and they wanted to give him a they wanted to give him a try, but it's not going to work. It doesn't matter if he gets suspended 2 games or not. They're not going to have a good season this upcoming season. It doesn't matter that they bought uh, that Barstool president bought the highest paid quarterback, what, 11, $12 million, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, Ballard. It doesn't, because he's going to be a true freshman playing. They're not going to be that good. I really can't find the receivers that will make the plays for the quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback can throw the ball, but can the receivers catch the ball? That's number one. Number two, like the offense of line. I mean, Michigan normally does have pretty good lines of scrimmage, so I'll give them that. But the receivers, Ballard, and yeah, Michigan always has a pretty good defense, so they'll do good defensively. But I could see another 6-6 season incoming for Michigan. They won't even be a threat to the Big Ten. And then the same conversation that we're having now, Ballard, everybody else will be having. That's why you need to subscribe to Ballard Sports Media, because when we do the Touchdowns live show, we bring you news that people are going to bring you next year. That is the reason why you need to subscribe to Ballard Sports Media. That is the reason why you need to tune in to the Touchdowns live show, because next year they're going to be talking about Sharon Moore needs to get fired and that he should have never been hired in the first place. I'm telling you that now. That they should have done a national search. They should have done away with his hide, because they knew good and dang on well that more stuff was going to come. Sharon Moore, get it? More stuff. Anyways, more stuff was going to come out about this. And what did they sit on their hands? And they hired this guy because they feel bad for him. And let's just call it like it is. They feel bad for the guy. And they went ahead and hired him. He went 6-6, terrible season. He ended it on a good note. He beat an Alabama team that didn't even want to be there, that went on a vacation, took that vacation, free vacation, and took a free loss too. Because to a lot of college football fans, that bowl games don't matter anymore. So there you go. And until you make bowl games matter, then 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 we can talk about if Michigan beats Alabama again like that in a bowl game, if they actually tried or not. Then we can talk about that. But until then, I'm not going to talk about it because it's pointless.
Right.
So that's my thoughts on that. It was a stupid hire. Sharon Moore hire was a stupid hire to begin with. Should have never hired him. And if you would have never hired him, then that means you would have never had to give him a 2-game suspension. You would have never had to come out with this news that he deleted a thing between him and Connor Stallions. You would have never had to do any of that stuff, because he would have been fired. Like, he would have moved on and went to another.
Why would a team under investigation, or that just was under investigation, hire from within?
Exactly.
That's the
That's what I'm saying.
stupidest. That's the stupidest move I think you could have made.
Exactly. It was a lazy hire. It was a hire. I don't know if they felt bad for Sharon Moore, or if they looked at Sharon Moore and said, "Oh man, he beat Ohio State and Penn State. Let's hire him." That can't be true. I mean, that can't be the only two data points they really looked at. I don't know what they looked at, because honestly, I just don't think it was a great hire. It was the absolute worst hire that you could have made if you were Michigan. I would have did a national search and brought in a brand new staff, a brand new coaching staff, brand spanking new, with no dirty laundry that has anything to do or be affiliated with this Connor Stallion whole deal and with the Harbaugh, right? I would have completely got rid of it and started fresh. And Michigan blew it. And next year, whenever everybody else is talking about it, and we are not going to talk about it because we already talked about it a year in advance. Whenever people ask us next year to talk about it, we're going to say, just check out this video from a year ago. That's our thoughts on it. We already talked about this. He should have never been hired in the first place. They're not going to be good next year either. 6-6 is 6-6, 7-5. 7-5 is like the ceiling for Michigan, honestly. And that shouldn't even be coming out of my mouth. 10, 11, 12 wins for Michigan should be the ceiling. A national championship should be the ceiling for Michigan next year. But no. They did this
Yeah,
to themselves. 7-5 is, to me, I would not, if I had to do a record prediction right now for Michigan, I cannot and will not give them more than 7 wins.
I could not see them getting anywhere past 7-5. I just can't.
And for all the Michigan fans and for all the supporters of Michigan that want to hate on me, just wait until next year. You're going to be in the same boat as I am. Sharon Moore should have never been hired in the first place. Should have conducted a national search. You could have gotten old buddy from the Lions. You could have the head coach from the Lions. You could have asked him, did he want to be head coach? You could have asked. I mean, he would have been a great coach. You could have asked. I mean, literally, just. I mean, you could have asked Kentucky's head coach. He wanted to get out of Kentucky anyways. You could ask him to be the head coach. Um, you know, you could have asked. I mean, I'm just thinking right off the top of my head, but I mean, you could have asked a lot of uh, head coaches, and they would have been interested because Michigan is a top tier job. And what do? You drop the ball, Michigan. You drop the ball, and that's where I drop my mic. Next topic.
No, you said it all, man. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Michigan did this to themselves, bringing in a inside guy for the hire.
I got a question, Ballard. I'll say one more thing, and then I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
Ballard, let's just say you hired me as a manager of your
Okay.
company. And I went out as manager and I hired a crew of people. And our whole entire crew and me was stealing stuff. Stealing, drinking alcohol on the job, doing all kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Everybody participated in it, myself included. I'm the manager. You're the owner. I'm the manager. I hired all these people, and we started, you know, drinking on the job. We were late every single day. We lost tons of money. We were, you know, doing, you know, illegal stuff, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everybody involved was doing it. We were stealing money. As manager, I was giving money that I wasn't supposed to away, and they were stealing money from the, you know, the cash register, right? And I let it happen under my watch, right? Now I got a question, Ballard.
Okay.
Of course, you're going to fire me, but are you going to promote somebody that was stealing the money out of the cash register and, doing dope and, drinking alcohol and being late to work every day? You gonna promote him as the new manager?
No.
Exactly. What are you gonna do? You gonna fire everybody?
Yeah.
You gonna get new staff in there, right?
Start fresh.
Start fresh. That's literally in in this. That's literally the base. That's literally how I feel.
Yeah.
Michigan made a terrible decision in hiring Sharon Moore in the first place, and look at what it's got them. It got them in the position that they have to suspend Sharon Moore for 2 games. It got them in this position.
Right.
Look at it got them in the position that they went 6-6 last season. It's going to get them in the position where they're not going to be good this season, and it's going to get them in a position where they're going to have to eventually let him go because he's not that great of a head coach.
Wouldn't be surprising to me if it happens within a year or two, honestly.
What's the next topic?
I don't know. I'm honestly kind of getting tired, but we could either save it for next time or if you really want to do it.
Might as well do it.
All
I'll carry
right.
it. I'll carry it.
First time college football playoff teams in 2025.
All right. So I want to ask you, Ballard. I guess we can do 3 teams each. Well, you'll think of 3 teams. I'll think of 3 teams. We could go back and forth.
I came up with 5 in my article, but if you want to do 3, that's fine.
All right, then do 5. Let's do 5.
Okay. Okay, how about we do this? I will show you my article and the teams. If you want to read the explanations, that's fine. But just read the teams and then give me your thoughts. And if you want to tell me where I'm wrong, we'll go for it.
Well,
First
I
team
wanted.
on the list is BYU.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they were going to make the playoffs last season.
All right. Iowa State.
Yeah. I mean, they were 1 game away from making it. All they had to do was beat. All they had to do was beat Arizona State, and they would have been in. Yeah, I could see that for sure happening.
Miami.
They were literally in the driver's seat too. They messed up.
They have been in the conversation for far too long. It's time to kick it in gear. If your name's Miami and you're not one of the 12 best teams, just shut the program down or something, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I could see them totally making it.
South Carolina at the end of this article here.
South Carolina, I could 100% see them making it too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they had a case. They were talking about them at 9-3 last year. They were talking about them. They were talking about them, Alabama, and who was the last team in? It was I'm
SMU,
drawing a blank. Huh?
SMU.
SMU, that's it. Anyway,
Yeah, let's talk about another team. I'll throw
yeah,
in some teams since you throw
okay.
in some teams. I'm gonna throw in some teams. What about Utah?
Utah, okay.
Could we see them? I know they had a disappointing season this past season, but can they bounce back? Can they get in there? Utah's a team that I can see. What about Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. I think they got to be at the top. I'm surprised I didn't put them in here. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, Ole Miss.
What about Texas A&M?
Yeah, that's another one. That 100% is another one that could potentially make it for the first time. What about this
There
team?
are teams I want to say, but they've made it before, like
What
LSU or
what
Oklahoma
about
or whoever.
what about this team? Illinois.
Oh, man, you got some good ones. I yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, Illinois and South Carolina were pretty much the two dark horses from last year, and honestly,
Did they meet at a bowl? Yeah.
they played in a bowl game
Jesus
together.
Citrus Bowl. Yeah.
Illinois win.
Um,
What about Syracuse, man? Can Fran Brown?
that's a mystery team because I think they can be good. I think the question is, are they going to be good? But if they can win 10-2, like they're knocking on the door.
Now
'Cause
let's talk
or
about some.
9-3.
Let's add in some G5 teams.
Okay.
Memphis.
Memphis. Okay.
They were literally a game away from making it, possibly.
Mhm.
What about UNLV? I know that was your early pick from last year. Mine was Boise State. We all know how that ended up going. Your boy Mayhem was
Yeah,
right, but
I know.
anyways, just a little bragging rights between me and Ballard. But yeah, what about UNLV?
I could see it.
Do you
I
think
could
they can?
definitely see it.
Do you think they can run it back with old Dan Mullen? Dan the man.
They possibly can. I'll throw in a group of 5 team. Let me steal the show here. Army.
Army. Yeah,
Army.
I mean, um, they
Look at this
had.
schedule real quick. Like, look at their schedule, man. I gotta put this up for you. Because I think I've looked at it. I haven't actually previewed it, but I've kind of looked at it once before this off season. But let's see what they can do. Tarleton State win. Kansas State probably a loss, but they can make it a game. North Texas probably a win. East Carolina, UAB's struggling, man. I like I know I'm going there and everything, but I do not have the most faith in the football team right now. Charlotte, Tulane, Air Force, Temple. Point being, they're in the American Conference now. This is really, really good. Outside of Kansas State and obviously the Navy game, is there really much room for error for Army? And again, Navy's a team that can make it. You know,
Yeah. What about What about this team, Ballard? I'm looking up their schedule, and I could see them. Hear me out, Ballard. I could see them doing
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
This is going to be my hottest take. This is going to be my hottest take this offseason. Iowa.
I like it.
They
I
have
actually need them. Their over under is like 7.5, and I made a bet with Lou that I need them to take the over.
what if a world, because I'm looking at their schedule now. They got Albany. That should be an easy win. They got UMass, easy win. Rutgers, easy win. Minnesota, that's not an easy win, but I think they can take care of business. They got Michigan State, which I think they could take care of business. They got Nebraska, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. That's 6 wins. And then you got Southern Cal, which I think is possible, is at Southern Cal. So that's 8 wins. At Wisconsin, that's going to be a tough road environment, but I think you could get the win there. I think Wisconsin may be a year or two away, maybe. They got some good players coming in, though. That's another team that we can talk about, too. And then you got Indiana. I think they're going to take a step back, so that could be. I could see the ceiling for Iowa if their offense can score points. That is the key here. Can their offense score more than 25 points? That will be the key because they're going to have to face Oregon, which that's going to be a loss. They're going to have to face Penn State, which that's going to be a loss. So the ceiling here is 10-2. I'm thinking if they can get an offense that scores more than 25 points, they can beat Southern Cal because, I think Iowa's defense is better than Southern Cal's defense any day. So as long as they have a pretty good offense to keep up with Southern Cal's offense, they can beat Southern Cal, even if it's on the road. Nebraska, same deal. They need offense that can score with Nebraska. And then Wisconsin, I think they could beat Wisconsin because, but Iowa is one of those teams that could be brand new. They, just a couple years ago, they were in the Big Ten championship. I think they went back to back in the Big Ten championship, and they lost back to back, by the way, to Michigan, I think, back to back, both times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see Iowa slipping their way in at 10-2, possibly. Also, another team that I wanted to talk about is Nebraska. They got a pretty easy schedule. They got Cincinnati, Akron, HCU. They do got Michigan. We already talked about that. They're not going to be any good. That's a winnable game. Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, Southern Cal, UCLA, Penn State, and Iowa. Really, I mean, this is a very winnable schedule, Ballard, for Nebraska. And remember about Matt Rule, he always does good in year 3. He had a big jump at Baylor in year 3. Who else did he coach? He coach? He coached another team too. Can't remember. Was it Liberty? It was. I can't remember right now. But in year 3
I
of
know
that,
he was in the NFL, but I don't know about college.
I know he did Baylor year 3, but I think he coached before Baylor. It was either, I don't know why I'm wanting to say Cincinnati or it was one of those. Um,
Probably was.
but I know he had success in year 3 of that college, and then he went to Baylor, had a lot of success, winning double-digit wins in Baylor year 3. Can this be the same thing? Nebraska, Matt Rule, year 3. Can this be the same thing? They got a veteran QB now. They got a few good wide receivers. They still need to work a little bit on their offensive line there. Defense, I think, is pretty good. I think they need to work on their defense line a little bit. I think the trenches just need to bulk up a little bit more. But I think they got an overall solid team, and they got an easy schedule. So Nebraska.
Temple. For Matt Rule, he was at Temple. But anyways.
There you go. But I think we named a pretty good amount of teams that could be first year. I'll name one more group of 5. What about Liberty?
Yeah, who's their coach? That
It was the
starts with a J.
Liberty is it was the Coastal Carolinas head coach, and he turned down
Chadwell?
Jamie Chadwell,
Jamie Chadwell, yeah.
because he was coach at Coastal Carolina. Georgia Tech offered him the head coaching position, which is a Power 4 team, by the way. He turned it down and said, nah, fam, I ain't going there. And then he decided to take the head coaching position, not to another Power 4 team, but to another Group of 5 team, which is a lateral move, in my opinion. I think it was a worser move because Coastal Carolina was better than Liberty, but he took the job at Liberty, and he's done pretty well. I think didn't they go 8-4 or something like that last year? They did something, but that could be a sneaky good team this upcoming season.
Undefeated regular season in the first year, and then let me see. Hold on. I'm curious now what he went. 13-1 in 2023 and 8-4 in 2024. Yeah. But the twist is Liberty with Jamie Chadwell has not won a bowl game yet. They are 0-2.
Well, I didn't say win a playoff game. I just said make it there.
I said bowl game, but whatever.
Well, in the first round bowl games. No, the first round is at home stadium. Second round is bowl games. So I mean, Boise State was G5 team that made it to the bowl game. We could possibly see that, but anyways, make it to the playoffs, same difference. But I think we had a great show, man.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be honest with you. Some of the takes that you had today kind of shocked me. Thought you were gonna go on the other side of me today. I really did. Thought you were gonna, push back on some of the.
Hey, but it was good, huh?
Yeah, it was really good. We had a really good show, and if you like the show, please smash the thumbs up. And if you really like the show, hit the subscribe button. Ballard
For sure.
Sports Media.
Love y'all. From his family.
Was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
Got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.